is going on, everybody? My name is John Solo, and welcome to Plot Twist, the show where we talk about some of the changes your favorite movies went through before they became movies. If you watched my Secrets of Cinema episode about Moana, which I'll link to at the end of this video, you may remember me mentioning that by the end of production, the filmmakers had gone through 9 different versions of the story. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not uncommon for movies to go through changes as they're developed. That's why this whole series exists. But 9 versions is quite a lot. So today we're going to discuss some of the ways these versions were different than what we saw in the final film and other alterations you may not expect. Personally, I'm pretty excited to be talking about Disney again, and if you guys are too, make sure you hit that like button. If we can get to at least 2,000 likes on this video, I'll take it as a sign that I should make Disney content more often. Without further ado, let's get this started. There's a chance that Moana may have never been made. The directors, John Musker and Ron Clements, were initially working on an adaptation of Terry Pratchett's Mort, but unfortunately for them, copyright issues prevented them from continuing the project. To avoid the same thing happening again, they started focusing on original ideas, and in 2011 they started developing Moana. In the minds of Musker and Clements, who up until this point had only ever made movies in the traditional animation style, Moana wasn't envisioned as being computer animated. Instead, it was going to be in the same style as Disney's short film Paperman, which includes both hand-drawn and computer animation. Musker said it was far too early to apply the hybrid Paperman technique to a full-length feature, so they went with computer animation instead. Interestingly, the original idea for Moana was to break away from the Disney princess template and focus entirely on Maui. The story was going to consist of loose interpretations of legends about him. This was until the directors made a research trip to Polynesia and became so fascinated with other aspects of the culture, they decided to make Moana the main character. What they wanted to do was tap into other parts of Polynesian culture outside of the legends of Maui, and they thought that a story about the daughter of the chief would be the best way to do this. In the initial screenplay that featured Moana, she was the only daughter in a family of about 5 or 6 brothers. Initially, gender was going to play a role in the story, but the directors preferred the idea of Moana going on a journey and finding herself. Another draft of the story had Moana's father as the one who wanted to resume navigation, but this was changed so that he wouldn't overshadow her. This is when the grandmother character was created so Moana could have a mentor and someone to introduce her to the ancient traditions. When the movie was announced at the D23 Expo in 2015, Moana's last name was said to be Waialiki, but this was omitted from the final film. Also at the announcement, Moana was referred to as being 14, however, she was eventually aged up to being 16. Quite the opposite of his final look, in early versions, Maui had a shaved head. The Oceanic Story Trust, which was a group of experts from across the South Pacific who consulted on the film's cultural accuracy and sensitivity, responded negatively to the design. As a result of this, Maui was given a thick head of hair, which was to represent his mana. Another scene that the team didn't approve of featured Moana throwing a tantrum and throwing coconuts. I'm not totally sure why this was the case, but the scene ended up being omitted as well. Tamatoa, the giant crab covered in gold, was initially conceived as a headless giant. The look was apparently inspired by such a being existing in folklore. To my understanding, there are different portrayals of Tamatoa across Polynesian legends, so that's how they made the leap from headless giant to giant crab. Despite rumors saying otherwise, Moana's appearance was designed before actress Aui'i Cravalho was cast in the role. That being said, and I find this to be pretty cool, because of their similar appearances, the animators decided to integrate some of Cravalho's mannerisms into Moana's behavior. One of the most remarkable facts on this list by far is that Heihei the chicken was initially conceived as an intelligent, serious, no-nonsense character. That's right, this character right here was gonna be a serious character. He was to act as a sort of babysitter to Moana and was determined to keep her on the island and out of trouble. This ended up making him pretty unlikable, so they took him in the complete opposite direction. Pua the pig also had a larger role in earlier drafts, but this was changed presumably because Heihei ended up fulfilling the role of animal sidekick. Despite appearing in 4 consecutive Disney films, Alan Tudyk was not initially offered a role in Moana as the directors wanted actors with a South Pacific background. However, after Heihei's role was changed from being serious to comedic, Tudyk was offered the role and recorded all of his audio in about half a day. This is pretty fast as far as audio recordings go, but even still, I feel that making chicken noises, doing nothing but making chicken noises for half a day, must have been pretty exhausting. An earlier version of the story focused on Moana rescuing her father who had gotten lost at sea. They scrapped this as the story's focus because, again, they felt that Moana's journey should center mostly around her, but the concept was liked enough that they kept it as part of the father's backstory. In some European countries, Moana's title had to be changed to Vaiana to avoid copyright infringement. For entirely separate reasons, in Italy, Moana's character name is Vaiana, but the film is titled Oceana, which many assume was done to avoid any connection to famous Italian adult actress Moana Pozzi. After the film had finished the development stage and started production in 2015, several major story problems were found and had to be reworked. Apparently, this is pretty typical with Disney and Pixar films. Since at this point Clements and Musker were already working 12-hour days and couldn't add any more into their schedule, Don Hall and Chris Williams, who had just finished directing Big Hero 6, were recruited to fix the story issues. One of their most memorable contributions was the addition of the Kakamora chase scene, which, believe it or not, was inspired by Mad Max. I remember the first time I watched the Kakamora scene, I was thinking, you know, this is oddly similar to Mad Max, but there is no way that Disney would include a reference to such a brutal film. Turned out I was wrong. One last change that took me by surprise is that there were several songs cut from the film. The names of some of these songs were Unstoppable, More, and a darker reprise of More. One song in particular was titled Warrior Face, and you can actually find it here on YouTube, so I put a link in the description down below for those of you who are interested in listening. And that brings us to the end of the list, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you learned a little something. If you did, make sure you hit that like button so we can get to our goal of 2,000 likes. I know that it might seem like I'm kind of begging for likes here, but I want to know if you guys are enjoying the Disney content, because if you are, I'll put up more. The reason there hasn't really been any Disney or Pixar content lately is because when I do put it up, you guys don't really respond to it very much, so I figure maybe the demand is dying, I don't know. So make sure you hit that like button, and after you do, hit that subscribe button for more Disney and Pixar content to come, and share this video with a friend or two who might like it. I got the links to my Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Patreon as well, all in the description down below, and also right below this little box that I'm in right now. So go give those a like or follow if you want to stay updated on the latest Jon Solo content, because the YouTube subscribe button apparently just doesn't work. Thank you all so much for watching, and thanks in particular to those who liked, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff, because your support means more to me than you could ever possibly know. Hope to see you all soon.